All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Zach Posner. I'm a co-founder and a managing director at the LegalTech Fund. And I'm thrilled to have Stephanie here with me from NLPatent for a LinkedIn Live. I believe this is our fifth. Um, this is live and we couldn't reschedule. So you may notice I'm in an airport right now. So apologize in advance for any background noise. But let's forget about all that stuff. I guess, Stephanie, before we jump into NLPatent, I've been asking everybody a couple personal questions to get to know you. And on that note, what's a fun fact many people don't know about you?
Yeah, so obviously I am the CEO of a fast growing startup, so we don't have too much personal time when you're growing a business. But I have a couple hobbies that perhaps are less known to most people. I really love to play poker. So I'm currently the number one points holder. I have to go back and verify at the one of the poker clubs in Toronto, which is pretty cool. I also have recently gotten into running. This is a fun thing for me in the summer. I live in Toronto, so it's not always nice outside. So it's a good way to get outside and a very efficient use of time to exercise. And I have a 2-year-old son, so he takes up a lot of time as well.
Wow, the sun and the running are awesome, but the poker is like a whole nother level. That's very cool. We were contemplating at the summit having a poker tournament, but we may not we may not do that now.
I think that's a
Um,
great idea.
all right, so if you weren't working in this amazing vertical of legal tech, which today the whole vertical was featured in PitchBook, which we're super psyched about. It was literally the front page of PitchBook right now. What industry would you be in?
Saw that article actually as well, and love to talk about it a little bit. But I think I'd still be practicing law, to be honest with you. There was nothing wrong with practicing law, and I just saw like an incredible opportunity to do something different in the profession. But I mean, it's a great profession, and I really enjoyed it.
All right, so I guess to keep going on that, we want to like bring in NL Patent, explain what you do, why you founded it, but maybe as a way to start that conversation off, is there like one statistic that you thought about when you were starting this company, or is there one statistic that like guides your team? You know, whatever that may be, just something that people may not be as aware of, and it's kind of like your little secret or that you'd like to share here, I guess.
Um, a statistic. So I mean, when I first left Big Law to start to co-found NL Patent, the world was a very different place. This was before COVID. So notwithstanding social norms changing, the whole ecosystem surrounding AI was completely different. I didn't really even know what AI was when we started NL Patent. Well, perhaps when we started, but leading up to it, I wasn't even sure, what natural language processing could do to innovate in this space. So the whole world has changed significantly since then. And looking at the news that we saw yesterday with some significant investments in some legal tech companies, we're seeing a total paradigm shift, not only in the investment community, but also in the adoption of AI technologies and legal tech and everything in between. So it's just been such a crazy journey. And I like to give myself a little bit of credit of seeing something very interesting in this space, doing AI before AI was cool. That's something that I think really drives us forward. And having a great product and a market that's really ready to adopt it has been a really cool thing to see.
And you're up in Canada, and yes, one of the things I think you were referencing yesterday was Clio announced a $900 million raise,
Hmm.
which I think I saw was the largest raise in Canada's history for any technology or any software company.
Totally. Yeah. It just sort of proves the point, right? It just proves that there's just so much opportunity and so much opportunity for investment too in this space rather than just being some niche area that's, oops, my fly just fell down. I just did some house renovations, so the whole house is sort of settling still. Hopefully, you're the only person that's going to have an unusual background on this call. But yeah, so the whole ecosystem has changed, as I said, and the investment community is really turning their eyes towards legal tech, and that's really been driven by advancements in AI and generative AI and all of the possibilities surrounding that technology, just proliferating across the legal tech ecosystem.
So let's jump over to NL Patent. Like, give us the backstory. What compelled you to start this? What compelled you to, what are you excited about these days? What do you guys do? All that fun stuff.
Totally. So, million years ago, when I was still practicing law, I was working at a big law firm in Toronto as an IP lawyer. My practice was primarily focused on patent prosecution. So I helped clients get patents on new inventions and provided some opinion work on various issues they might be facing with respect to IP. And literally, I ran into a friend at a bar, as many good stories usually start. And he was telling me about applying AI to different portions of the legal process, to search case law, and also to conduct patent research. And I was very interested by that. First of all, what's AI? Second of all, how can it help lawyers be more efficient? And so diving into the space and getting my hands on the early prototype of what became NLPatent, it was sort of like a hit you in the face kind of moment where it was so obvious that this was the future of the profession. And I thought, I worked at a big law firm, went to a good law school. I can always be a lawyer, but I don't think that an opportunity like this is going to come up again. So I very brazenly quit my day job and joined as a co-founder of NLPatent. And the rest is sort of history.
And maybe a little overview on what you guys are doing now, what the company looks like, all that fun stuff.
Sure. So a lot has changed since then, and we've gone through some different iterations of the platform. So back in 2018, when I first left my practice, large language models weren't really a thing, and so that was a big transition. And ushering in that technology really transformed our business because we made the difficult decision in 2021 to take advantage of a large language model based approach to patent research. So what our company has always done is patent research. So if you think about patent research, there's a million reasons why you might want to search and research patent data. So the famous one that generally comes to mind for most people is, hey, I have a new invention, I have a new idea. Has it ever been done before? And you research basically every single patent document and every document, frankly, to determine whether your idea is truly new enough to be patented. But there's so many reasons why people do patent research: in litigation, in due diligence, in bringing a new product to market to determine if you're infringing anybody else's patents. There's like a million ways that you would want to research patent data. And what historically people used to do is search by keyword. And you think, okay, keyword searching, how hard could that be? Seems pretty obvious. Well, when you think about patent documents and patent data, it's very complicated data. And there's a ton of patents. There's literally hundreds of millions of patents out there. And every year, more and more get added to the global database of patent information. And so when you think about even a simple technology, the way it's written in a patent document is not the way that anybody would normally, in common parlance, describe something. So trying to string together a bunch of keywords to describe that thing would be very difficult to do, because terms of art change. Something that you might use to describe that idea might be something very different than somebody else might use to describe it. And it's not enough to just find one example of it. You have to be pretty comprehensive when you're doing patent research to make some determinations. So what we decided to do is apply a natural language approach to the problem. So rather than distilling a complex invention to a string of keywords, you enter in a natural language description of what that invention is. And that could be a copy and paste of an invention disclosure. It could be a claim. It could be really anything. And that forms the query. And instead of matching the keywords of that query, the system will read and understand the full context of what's been described and generate a list of patent documents in like literally a fraction of a second related to that invention. Rather than matching keywords, matching the full concepts. It's iterative, so it learns from you. And it also generates a natural language summary of what's similar about that patent document compared to your query. So what it does is it makes patent professionals way better at their jobs because they can do this process very quickly and with more accuracy than they would otherwise be able to do. But it also, very interesting, kind of bridges the gap between somebody who has absolutely no idea how to search patent information and making them pretty competent at doing so. I would definitely not say it would make them an expert, but it would allow them to at least access this data in a way they could never do before. And that piece has really been unlocked through the advent of large language models and that approach to solving the problem of accessing information.
Yeah, and maybe go a little deeper there. Like, you started in 18, you said you started to rethink about the technology or build on top of the technology in 21. How much better are you seeing the technology being these days? How excited are you for like whatever the next iteration looks like? And
Yeah.
just what do you think is going to
It's
happen here? Yeah.
I mean, it's such a cool space. So the technology is evolving so quickly, and when we started the business many years ago, we were applying a heavily engineered approach to solving this problem. So there was a pretty good way to solve the problem, but you had to really MacGyver the solution in order to fit the problem and address the problem. With a large language model based approach to the problem, it just works so much better and it's so much more fluid and scalable. So rather than having to heavily engineer something, it just really kind of figures things out in a much more comprehensive, easy to understand way. And that has allowed us to scale and to grow our database really significantly and still address the problem in a very meaningful way. So where we're going with this technology is not just improving the existing platform and making patent research easier and better, we're also building out additional products that leverage that same technology to solve other pieces of the problem. So, the patent process, generally speaking, has many different facets, and it's been very complicated and time-consuming, tedious, reserved for experts, etc. But using this technology that we've designed, we can apply it to different steps of the process. So, Zach, interestingly, we just are beta testing our second product right now, and rather than being a backwards looking patent research tool, let's see what's been done before, it's more of a forwards looking monitoring platform. So your company, you have, a group of patents, you can throw them into the monitoring platform, and our AI system will proactively monitor your space for new patent filings that read on the patents in your portfolio and generate an AI generated summary of what's similar between them. And so that provides incredible competitive intelligence. It identifies potential licensing opportunities, might unearth some would-be infringers that are really close to the technology that your company does, and it also helps to value the patents in your portfolio in some ways. So we're really excited about the next product, which I've sort of teased out for the very first time with you right now in a public way, and we'll be launching that in the fall commercially.
Well, that sounds pretty awesome because it's just always working in the background for you. Like,
Exactly.
we've seen some applications using LLMs, not in the stuff you're doing, but I think that stuff's just fascinating where it's just working in the background and you don't need to do anything and it just kind of works for you. Um, I guess on that, you really took a chance on ChatGPT. I mean, you were like an early adopter of some of this stuff, correct? Like, obviously, it
Absolutely.
seems like it feels good now, but how has that journey been?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that. So when we decided to overhaul our whole platform and literally rewrite every single line of code, build a new language model that adopts some of this newer technology, it was not obvious that that was the best decision at the time. This is pre, ChatGPT changing the world's perception of language-based AI. And we took a chance and we decided to, spend a year essentially overhauling our entire platform and taking a chance on this new technique to analyze language based information. And of course, now in hindsight, that looks like the obvious decision. But there are a lot of different ways that we could have solved this problem. And we just happened to sort of like bet on the right horse in so many words. So it was the right
I don't know.
decision. In hindsight, of course, it's 2020, and thank goodness it's a rosy
Yeah,
view from over
I,
here.
I don't know. Knowing you and knowing the team, I don't know if I'd call it luck. I mean, there was a little bit of skill involved with that. Um, I guess two different areas I want to take it. One is give me a little overview of like your customer base. What types of customers do you like to work with? There's lots of folks probably listening, but who is the ideal customer for you these days?
Yeah, so I alluded towards this in a response to one of your previous questions, but we're sort of like legal tech, lowercase l, lowercase t, because we sell to lawyers, but we also sell to non-lawyers. So we have a number of different professionals using our product today. All of them touch sort of like the innovation ecosystem commercialization space, but not all of them are strictly lawyers or patent professionals. So for example, we have, of course, lawyers, patent agents using our product, patent paralegals, but we also have non-lawyers using our product because for the first time ever, using our technology, they can access patent information in a very meaningful way. So we have R&D teams at operating companies using our platform to help in the very first step of the patent process, is validating ideas, identifying white spaces, etc. We also have universities using our products, which is sort of an interesting use case. So there's a center at most research universities, I think probably all research universities, that determines whether they file patents and protect the research that's funneling through the university. Many of them receive a very high volume of what's called invention disclosures to then determine whether they commercialize in some way. And so leveraging NLPatent, they can quickly sort of determine go or no go with the patent filing. And then they can kind of figure out what they want to do with the patent after it's been filed and potentially issued. Are they going to license it to anybody in the space that's operating, building products in that space? Could they help to foster innovation that way? There's a lot of different use cases for our platform and a very good use case at universities. So lawyers at law firms, lawyers at corporations, no surprise. Perhaps a little bit more surprising are the R&D professionals at companies as well as universities.
Awesome. We've been thrilled to navigate, from some far end this journey with you just a little bit over the past couple of years. But I get the sense that, and I know that like mentorship's been important to you. Any kind of stories, any advice, anything that you mentioned to all the folks out there listening, or?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this question. I feel very strongly about mentorship. I have had some incredible mentors, both within like the tech ecosystem as well as the IP patent law ecosystem, and all of them have been like super instrumental in my professional development and the success of my business. Because as sort of a nobody entering a space, you really need to be lifted up in some regard in order to make advancements and also to make valuable connections and hear from the world in which you are hoping to sell your products, what people want. And so one of the examples that I would love to share is an attorney at a conference, just hearing me out, listening about AI before AI was cool, and finding it very interesting and hearing my passion. And he has, he was able to open up some doors that I would never have been able to do so. And I would never have even been able to predict how my career would evolve as a result of that one act of kindness and just taking a leap of faith and believing in me having something valuable to say in the conversation. And since then, I have been very fortunate to be embraced by the IP community as a leader in the AI for IP space. I've presented at many conferences, webinars, etc., called upon to also contribute to comment requests at the US Patent Office with respect to AI policy. Really, all of this was thanks to one very kind person's gesture of just believing in me and being interested in what we're doing in this space. So mentorship is so important. And I really try to pay it forward and mentor people that are entering the space, both in the IP profession and in the tech space. So, yeah.
So we're massive believers of this construct of like who luck, and that the people you come across can help to, shape your outcome. And that's why we try to bring a lot of people together to force some of that. But it's amazing to hear that you believe in that and the pay it forward mentality. And I guess on that note, we should wrap with the quickest, since you may have just offered that up. If people want to get in touch with you, whether people for mentorship or whether people for, to learn more about NLPatent, how should they do that?
Yeah, totally. I'm very happy to chat with anybody really that is interested in our space or that is just interested in entering in the space as a company. So my email address is stephanie@nlpatent.com. You can, of course, find me also on LinkedIn, Stephanie Curcio. You'll find me CEO of NLPatent. Very happy to connect and speak to whomever is interested in learning more about my company, about my journey, about literally anything. So thanks for offering that up, Zach.
And I can't thank you enough for taking a few minutes. We are, it was awesome to, share a little bit about our experience with you and some of the amazing work we think you're doing. Thanks to all that joined us, and we'll be posting this as well for others that couldn't make it today. And that's all I got, but thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Zach.
All right. Have a great one.
Bye.